call upon Eric Ugard for the invocation. You can rise.
Would you say a word of prayer with me? Heavenly Father, we come before you again. We thank you for the privilege of living in Fergus Falls. Lord, we thank you that you are our God and creator, and that as part of your creation, you gave authority to mankind. We pray that we would use that authority well, that we would use it for the benefit of the people here in this city and to your glory. So we ask for your blessing on this meeting. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I was also asked if I could give just a word of honor regarding Gary Spies and his passing. And it's been said that everybody in Fergus Falls has some sort of story or connection with him. And my story was that my dad said that he got me my first job at Service Food because he knew Gary. I don't know if I needed that connection to be a bag boy there, but I was thankful for the job nonetheless. And it may just be a reminder to all of us that the way that Gary served this community and the lasting impact that he has, may we all seek to serve well also. Would you now say the Pledge of Allegiance with me? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Right. I call this meeting to order. Can we do a roll call, please?
Mortensen.
Here.
Rachel is absent. Hildy.
Here.
Fish.
Here.
Joel.
Here.
Bonnie.
Here.
Creighton.
Yes.
Freemeyer.
Here.
Thank you. With that, the first item on the agenda is open forum. If anybody wishes to speak to the council, please stand at the podium and state your name. It would appear that nobody is talkative this evening. But just to kind of add to what Eric mentioned in terms of Gary Spies, obviously I think everybody knows that Gary did do a lot for the community, and there's a lot of projects that obviously his hand touched. And, as much as, I think on the radio there was a lot of good comments, but I think, our present thoughts today probably should be with Sharon. Sharon's in a tough world, especially having lost her husband. So if all those can help, that would be good. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda.
Your Honor, I have an amendment to that
Thank you, Mark.
agenda.
What amendment would you care for?
I gave a copy to you or Andrew. I think we're going to take the consent agenda 3 and 4 down to ordinances and resolutions.
Could you speak a little clearer, Mark?
Sure. Under the consent agenda, take 3 and 4 and move to the ordinance and resolutions.
Well, we can just remove them from the agenda. It'd be easier to just say remove from the consent agenda.
Yeah. And I believe the other items I've laid out for Andrew, if you just want to. Did I leave a copy on your desk, Hicks?
Kind of
Well,
between.
I think it's on Mayor Hicks. Either one of us can.
I think a lot of those things, Mark, would be better if we could discuss at the retreat.
That would be fine.
I'd
I'd like to get the ball rolling, sir.
Yep. No. I think that would be a better place if we can. Mark has, added quite a number of items to the agenda under old business, unfinished, and new business.
I would like to make a motion that we have the retreat as initially planned and ask a question as to why we need to postpone it for a mediator or
That's,
facilitator.
It's set for the 7th of February.
All right, thank you.
Your Honor, Councilmember Mortensen also requested item number 1 be removed for the consent agenda for an addition.
All right, thank you. So we have an amendment to the agenda of removing items 1, 3, and 4 from the consent agenda. Would somebody care to make a motion to approve that?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Laura.
I'll second that.
Thank you. The All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against, same sign. Hearing none, the motion is approved. There are no public hearings this evening. There are no bids to award. There are no petitions and communications. We're to the consent agenda. The remaining items are the motion to approve licenses, the resolution accepting the plans and specifications for authorization, the advertisement of bids for public improvement 9774, the landfill, and a motion appointing board and commission members. Would somebody care to make a motion to approve those?
Also move.
Thank you, Jim.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Laura. Roll call, please.
Mortensen.
Yes.
Hildy.
Yes.
Fish.
Yes.
Joel.
Yes.
Fleming.
Yes.
Clayton.
Yes.
Freemeyer.
Yes.
The first item, motion approving the minutes for the January 6th meeting. Councilmember Mortensen, you had some either question or additions you'd care to make?
Yeah, thank you, Your Honor. I appreciate it very, very much. I just want to make an addition to the Committee of the Whole meeting on 1/15/25 under the minutes involving the landfill demo cell. That's PI 9774. And I just wanted added in there that I had asked Mr. Yarborough if, does the county provide funds for the demo cell? And I think his comment was no. And then I wanted also added, do county residents use the demo cell? And I think his comment was yes, and I don't want to speak for him, but I wanted to get those comments in there that, hey, we don't get any funds from the county, but county residents do use that demo cell, and that's something for this council to look at in a future date.
Your Honor, I have no objection to that, but I think we should also note then that I think Mr. Yarborough also commented that they pay an increased rate, and maybe we can verify that so that's reflected.
I believe that is correct. They pay an additional fee if you're not.
I'd
a
agree to that.
resident.
Yep.
Would somebody care to second that? Thank you, Al. Anybody, any objections to that? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against, same sign. A motion to amend the minutes, including comments about the landfill, are included. The next item on the agenda was a motion considering a bid alternate for public improvement 5375 for a sidewalk on the east side of Cleveland Avenue. Councilmember Layton pulled that off.
I believe we were going to try to have a little more discussion on that, and if we could use it at the retreat. Unless the council wants to act on it tonight, that's fine.
I think, I thought we left it that we were going to do the alternate bid, and then obviously we'd talk about it once we got the alternate bid.
That's fine.
Right. So would you care to make the motion to accept that?
Sure.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mark. Roll call.
Mortensen.
Yes.
Hildy.
Yes.
Fish.
Yes.
Joel.
Yes.
Fleming.
Yes.
Clayton.
Yes.
Freemeyer.
Yes.
Item 4 on the consent agenda was resolution accepting MnDOT agreement 1058434 for Trunk Highway 210 West and the I-94 bridge replacement and interchange reconstruction. Again, Councilmember Layton, you care to make your comments?
Yeah, we're going to, the new I-94 210 exit will have, I understand, roundabouts. And then some 1,000 feet, we're going to have another roundabout going into Mabel's and Walmart. I believe that any truck traffic is going to have more trouble there than it currently has right now with the stop and go. I've requested information. Is there a way that the city can get out of participating in this project? It's going to cost the taxpayer $750,000.
Brian, do you have any comments?
Not at this time, no. I have to do some reach out to MnDOT to talk about that scenario, so.
That's all I can do right now is get their response.
You don't like the roundabout?
Not that close together, and I believe that intersection works just fine now. If I were a truck driver, I would have difficulty getting in and out of that the Walmart or the food truck going into the Mabels.
They put roundabouts in Alexander. I think it works fantastic.
I know from my previous employee, the truck drivers would prefer the roundabouts. They sit and wait at those junctions a long time. So, I mean, from my perspective, I mean, I have no issues with roundabouts. They make traffic move freely. Maybe, have you actually, I mean, had the opportunity to see the whole plan for that, Mark?
Yes.
Right.
Mayor.
So,
Just a comment too. I think I maybe realize kind of what you're thinking about too, Mark, is that, you know, you've got that first roundabout, then you have the other one that's going to be going into Walmart. You know, as far as consideration, and I don't know if the state of Minnesota has looked at that or not, I would hope so. But, you know, Walmart has a lot of trucks overnight, and there's a lot of truck traffic in that. It's not just servicing that store. It's people who are staying there. And being there so close, is that going to affect a bottleneck somehow? I mean, I don't know. I don't know enough about that. And I just wonder if there was any thoughts, how many trucks can be there at a time and still be moving? You know, I don't know. So I kind of understand. I think I understand what you're getting at. But my comment is, I don't know.
MnDOT did come, I believe, and present to the council this project. This is not a new project, just to be clear. I think you know, the journal did post that this was a newly presented project, and it isn't. It's been on the docket for quite some time from MnDOT to do this.
I remember when they came.
Yeah, I think yeah, it was certainly in your time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do get that.
Yeah.
I was just wondering if, you know, if they actually, because sometimes governments don't look at certain things, and I don't know if that was one of the things.
You know, I know they approached us at the plant about truck traffic.
Yeah.
So I know they did studies on truck traffic.
Okay.
So,
Thanks.
Scott.
We've actually, as a council, already essentially agreed to go forward with this project, and this specific request had to do more with the revision to an already approved project with the soil cover and the changes required to keep the utilities working. I don't see any reason why we wouldn't just go ahead with this. It doesn't significantly change what we've already agreed to do. So I would then make the resolution or motion, whichever it is, to
So
just go
resolution
forward
to
as
accept it.
as number 4 is written.
Scott. Did you
I
have
would
some-
still appreciate information if there's an out. If there's an out, we should consider it.
You have a second to the
I'll second
resolution?
Scott's.
Thank you, Jim. We have a resolution on the floor to accept the replacement interchange reconstruction. There'll be a roll call.
Mortensen.
Yes.
Rudy.
Yes.
Fish.
Yes.
Joel.
Yes.
Kwame.
Yes.
Clayton.
No.
Kramer.
Yes.
I believe that is everything on the consent. I believe that is everything on the consent agenda. The next item is F under ordinance and resolutions. A resolution designating the Daily Journal as the 2025 legal publication. And I know we had some discussion on this at the committee of the whole. Would anybody care to make the
I'll
resolution?
offer the resolution that we
I'll second.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Laurie. I'll
go with the Daily Journal.
to go with it. Anybody got any comments?
We got you.
I think there's, I don't know, I have some comments. I guess as we spoke on the Wednesday morning, you know, evidently that the newspaper industry does not have a governing body, doesn't have somebody who watches on what they do and what they don't do. So we were provided a letter from, I think it was a private attorney, which anybody can have a private attorney argue a case for them. The closest thing to a governing body, and for us as a council to do our due diligence, if this paper is a registered paper or not, is to fall under subdivision 4, where it goes to a district judge. You know, that's going to be the closest entity to a governing body for the newspaper industry from what I see. They don't have licenses, they don't have certificates, they don't have things like that, from what I understand. And all we want to do is make sure this is correct. I don't care if it's been done for 140 years. Doesn't mean it was right or wrong. But when we come to start anew here and to move forward, my argument here is that if we have a chance to make sure this is correct, let's do it. And this is the only thing that we can use. And as we asked Mr. Hardy the other evening, or the other morning, I should say, he did not want to do this. Why would you not want to prove that you are correct if you're so confident? It's very simple to me. If you can prove yourself correct by going to a judge and saying, pleading your case, then we're good with it. I don't understand that thinking, I guess. That's where I'm at with it. I'm not for this the way it is right now because I think it needs to be proven. And it's never been proven. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Yes, Your Honor. I appreciate Your Honor. I appreciate Mr. Kramer's comments. Mr. Nicomo, I have a question for you. Under Minnesota Statute 331A.02 that we've been talking about with the Daily Journal, are we allowed as a government entity to do subdivision number 4, which is a declaration of legality of that newspaper? Are we allowed to do that as a city, or are we not allowed to do that on a legal aspect?
You can file a petition.
Okay, so we're allowed as a city, if we wanted to go forward and see, to make sure that we're 100% in line with our constituents to do that. It doesn't have to be an individual, as the statute says. Okay. Another question for Mr. Nicomo, does the legal basis of Mr. Anfinson, the Minnesota Newspaper Association attorney, does he have a legal basis to prove that the Daily Journal is a legal publication by the letter that was provided to us?
I'm assuming that, you know, he has represented the newspaper. I'm assuming he has represented them in their efforts to provide the required documents to the Secretary of State. I haven't revealed any of that.
Okay.
I haven't been provided any of that. The one thing, you know, if you're looking at doing a declaratory judgment against them to see if they are actually legally qualified, you still need a legal qualified newspaper now. Because when you start passing ordinances and whatnot, you have to publish them for them to be valid. So, I mean, if you're concerned about it to the point where you want to engage in a legal action to have them prove that they are, in fact, a qualified newspaper, because as we sit here right now, we don't know. You know, we don't know if they are or not. We're just assuming they are. A lot of people assume they are. Most attorneys in town assume they are because they use them for their legal publication notices for actions to quiet title, estate proceedings, all sorts of things you'll see get published in the newspaper. And even a lot of our legal publications look to other legally qualified newspapers in the county, and we have a list of 5 that are actually qualified newspapers, at least according to the legal publications that I review, that indicate there's a legal publication in Fergus Falls, there's a legal publication in Pelican Rapids, there's a legal publication in Battle Lake, there's a legal publication in Parker's Prairie, there's a legal publication in Perham. You know, attorneys and others who utilize these, including the county and the school boards and all the school boards in the county, rely upon these newspapers to, you know, represent and actually be qualified as they represent themselves. So if you're concerned about it, my suggestion would be, is the statute says that even though, if you have a reasonable basis to believe that the publication is a qualified legal publication for the county and qualified by the law, any laws that you pass in the future still are going to be valid. And there's a provision, if I recall, that indicates that even if it's found that the publication is not valid down the road by a declaratory judgment by a judge, your actions aren't disregarded because of it. So, my suggestion is to pass a resolution designating the Daily Journal, because they're the legal publication located in our city, which is, the statute gives them priority. And if your intent is to have them show that they are actually a qualified newspaper, then engage me to do the declaratory judgment, and we'll go down that route if that's what you want to do.
Okay, good. I appreciate the representation today. I do. I appreciated it. As we were talking with him last Wednesday, we weren't able to get quite to that level, so I appreciate tonight where you're at with it. So, thank you. But again, I want to reiterate, you said at this point you're not sure if they are legal. You're just assuming, we're assuming like all of us that they are.
Sure.
Okay.
I think it's a reasonable assumption. I mean, I'm willing to make it with my private practice. I mean, I publish things in their newspaper quite often. So.
And there again, too, it doesn't seem to matter if it is or it isn't. If it's assumed it is, it's okay. It doesn't seem like anything's going to happen. But it comes down to, are you representing yourself correctly or not representing yourself correctly as a legal type of registered newspaper? And that's where I have a little gray area.
There's also a statute, the part of the statute also says, if they discover that they are not actually qualified, they are required to let the governing body know.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming they do some type of due diligence internally. I'm assuming they listen to the advice of their attorney internally, but,
So, not to interrupt, but what I'd like to see is, let's give it, and I don't know how long that takes, and you could probably tell us, but let's say that they have 30 days to show it. In those 30 days, they're still the registered newspaper for us, but we will come to that decision after we hear those findings from that judge.
it's going to take months.
Yeah, well, let's have it take months.
And the reason it takes months is because if the statute requires that there be a notice published in a legal newspaper.
I read it.
Right? Yeah, and that notice is there, I believe, for a number of weeks. And then, the case is filed, the judge will set a scheduling conference. Let's talk about this and how to get it onto the judge's calendar. I mean, it just isn't something we can say, hey, judge, can you decide this thing on this quickly for us? We're just fall in line with everyone else that has filed petitions for other matters. And, it will take months. Our legal system moves pretty quick. But that's fine.
Yep.
Your Honor, can I ask one question?
Yep.
Are we at risk through the audit process of not having a legally declared newspaper?
Certainly, our auditors check this every year, so they'll look at this for the year-end 2025. We may wind up with a finding on that. We are publishing things now because we have, by statute, have to publish our 2024 budget. So we've got that ready. We're sending it in because we have to. We have to abide by statute. So, and the Daily Journal is our only option. To my knowledge, any other paper, we don't have another paper as an option to publish according to.
Not a local newspaper.
Right, not a local. Yeah, we could go in Battle Lake or Pelican, but that's not really reaching our community then like the Journal. So, but yeah, we may get a finding next year on this, so.
So there is a resolution to accept the plans and specifications. So the Daily Journal as the newspaper, with that, we'll have a roll call, I suppose.
Just, I have a question. If we do not, or if we pass this as the motion is to have the journal be our publication, can we still go and ask the district court if they are legally a paper?
Yeah, that's two separate actions, so.
Okay.
I think why not, my preference would be vote this one down, reintroduce it to have, let's get this moving until we hear anything of those findings. They're the registered newspaper, and then we'll either proceed with them or they're going to have to do something to make themselves a registered newspaper. So that's what I'd like to see. I think that's a cleaner way of doing that.
If we do it that route, though, we're not able to put any publications in the paper, correct? We're kind of, any improvements, road construction, anything like that, we're going to be stalled on that?
I would say if you vote it down, then you have no newspaper. So therefore, then the city will come to a halt.
And then that will lead to more findings, because it's not just that you didn't appoint a paper. Now, we didn't do, according to state law, to publish the budget. We didn't, do the ordinance, the bids that are all state law, and then it's finding after finding after finding.
So there are ramifications, is what
Yes.
you're saying?
Scott?
My preference would that we pass this as written, but if it would satisfy those with questions, that we amend it to put a time of, say, 6 months on it, to give us a chance to have a legal publication for 6 months and then work through some of these questions. Maybe someone would like to make such an amendment offer. Mine would be preferred to go with as written.
That was going to be another option.
I think.
Well, I guess what I'm suggesting is amend the existing resolution, not vote this down and start over. I mean, it'd be a lot simpler.
If you
just to-
want to amend it, I will accept that
Yeah.
amendment.
I'll let someone else make the amendment. I'm in favor of going with it as written. If somebody else wants to make the amendment, then we can talk about that.
So basically, we would word that as they would be accepted as of right now, with the amendment being, this is going to be looked into. It's going to go to a district judge. There's going to be a ruling on it. And then we'll look at it down the road when we get that judgment or ruling. And then either they are or they are not. And if they are not, then they have to make themselves a registered newspaper of some sort.
Just out of interest, what's this going to cost?
Yeah, that
That
was
was
my
my
next question.
What's the financial impact that this is going to have?
No. I mean, involving a district judge.
I mean, whenever you get legal action involved, I mean, you're looking at fees and you're looking at expenses. I don't know what kind of a defense that there is that may be. I don't know if the Daily Journal's attorneys are going to, what they're going to present to the court, but I would assume at a bare minimum, a declaratory judgment is basically, Judge, here's the facts. You need to make a decision. Are these going to be sufficient for you to make a decision on whether this is a qualified legal newspaper in Otter Tail County? I don't know. I bet you're looking at fees of $5,000 maybe. When you're all said and done, and you're probably looking at expenses of about another $500 to $1,000. Because you got to pay a filing fee. It's just, that's my best guess.
I guess I would think that the reason he turned that down the other day was because of the cost of going through the whole thing.
Your Honor, can Mr. Nickelmo answer, would we be opening ourselves up to a countersuit or possibly their legal expenses?
I would say probably not, as long as you had a basis to make the request. The courts rarely impose fees, attorney fees on other parties. That doesn't happen all that often. You never make a decision on a lawsuit as to whether you'll get your fees reimbursed. You certainly can make decisions on lawsuits whether or not their fees would be imposed against you, and I think it would be pretty low risk of that. But you never know. Judges can do what they do, and you never know how this would be postured coming back in a response. But the whole point is that the process is there. It's clear the petition can be filed. It's clear that anyone can file that petition that's interested in it, and they can file it as well. It's just that we have to go through more hoops apparently than they would have to if they did it themselves.
I appreciate that, Mr. Nicomo. I appreciate it very, very much. I think one of the things I want to know why, I want to let you know how I look at this. I look at this that we are working here for the citizens of this city. And this Daily Journal has changed its publication for the first time in over 100 years in our city. And at this point, we asked them to prove to us they were a legal publication with that new news magazine that they call it as that. I want to make sure that we are doing exactly what the Minnesota statutes want us to do by using a legal publication. I do not want this to come back on the council 6 or 8 months from now and have a constituent say to me, hey, why didn't you know they weren't a legal publication? And we'll say, well, because they told us they weren't, or because we didn't want to challenge us, or we didn't want to look into this. This is about doing the right thing for the community. It's actually about doing the right thing for the Daily Journal so they can be with us for the long haul. Absolutely no one on this council, and me for sure, is saying we do not want the Daily Journal as our newspaper. What we want to do is we want to make sure we're doing the right things for this community. I will be voting tonight to make the Daily Journal our legal newspaper publication tonight, but I also will be voting to go forward just with the legal declaration to find out for sure. And that's plain and simple. That's the way business is usually done, and that's the way that I think the citizens of this community deserve to have this done.
And my suggestion is to do that with two actions. Okay?
So the first resolution that's on the floor is designating them as the official journal. So, roll call.
Mortensen.
Yes.
Kilby.
Yes.
Fish.
Yes.
Joel.
Yes.
Kwame.
Yes.
Clayton.
Yes.
Yes.
Heck, you split.
Oh.
Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion
Yep.
that we enter into a declaration of legality, which is under Minnesota Statute 331A.02 under subdivision 4, to just determine if the Fergus Falls Daily Journal news magazine publication is a legal publication for our city. And I make a motion that we go forward to do that, and we take care of all the costs as a city to do it.
I'll second it.
And as, yeah, it could, yeah, it should probably be a resolution directing the city attorney to draft the necessary paperwork for what you just said.
Okay.
Okay?
And you're
You bet.
acceptable?
You bet. Sounds good. Thanks, Rolf.
Right. Roll call.
Mortensen.
Yes.
Kilby.
No.
Fish.
Yes.
Joel.
Yes.
Kwame.
No.
Clayton.
Yes.
Kramer.
Yes.
5. The resolution is approved.
One follow-up question. Ralph, you've indicated that the legal side of the world is using the Daily Journal as a, if you will, a legal publication as a qualified paper. What basis do you have of that? Just because it's always been?
Well, we got 5 legal newspapers that are recognized, at least as far as I know, in our county that attorneys use. And these legal publications, I have a legal publication called, it's the probate registrar publication for the state of Minnesota. It lists the probate courts, it lists all qualified newspapers that are recognized at least by the Bar Association. Now, have they done their due diligence and have, looked into and asked, for the qualifications? I don't know. I don't know who has.
Because simply filing with the state as a newspaper does not ensure or guarantee the public that it is a qualified.
A lot of people assume it is. Yeah, I get it.
The next item on the agenda is presentation of claims in the amount of $2,888,066.84.
I'll offer that.
Thank you, Laurel.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Jim. All those in favor say
Roll call.
a roll call. Yeah.
Mortensen.
Yes.
Kilby.
Yes.
Yes.
Joel.
Yes.
Kwame.
Yes.
Clayton.
Yes.
Kramer.
Yes.
There is no old or new business. However, we will be adjourning to a closed session to consider real estate transactions for
Your Honor?
5.
No, I won't cut you off when you're finished.
Yep. 522 Hampton Avenue and 925 Western Avenue as allowed by Minnesota Statute 13D.05, and we will be reconvening the council after that.
Your Honor, I don't know if it's old business, new business, probably this or that, and if I'm out of order for the council here, you just let me know, and I will retreat. I can't thank Mr. Nicomo enough tonight for the insight that you had, and I truly mean that, Rolf. That to be able to sit here and ask you the question and get it back and forth and get insight like that, I think helped this council immensely today. What I was worried about a little bit is at the committee of the whole, I don't have that ability to do that with you, and I know the ability for you to be everywhere, omnipresent all the time is not there with it. But what I would like to do is I'd love to be able to have you there on a Wednesday or someone there of some capacity to do that. And I know that that probably takes an additional funds from the city and different things like that. But for me as a business person, where I'm looking to accountants and I'm looking to attorneys and I'm looking for guidance for the people that know more than I do, it's very paramount. I felt tonight I could make comments about that daily journal and about the statute with a lot of comfort. I really could. Where on Wednesday, I couldn't quite make those same comments when I had the daily journal here because I didn't know what your opinion was on that. So one of the things that I'd like to do is, and if we want to take this to the committee of the whole or do something like this, I would like to open up the ability for you to submit an RFP for legal services for what it takes to be there on a Wednesday and at council meetings and different things like that. So I'd like to, if that's something you want to entertain tonight, Mayor, with a motion or a resolution, I'd like to do that. But I want to give Mr. Nicomo the chance to be able to let us know what it takes to do that.
I would suggest that.
I would suggest, Mr. Mortensen, that you and any other council member that want to come talk to Joe and I about what services you want us to provide, fine. We're engaged at the will of the council. We take direction from what you want us to do. Joe, as you know, is the prosecutor for our town, and I handle the administrative stuff for the city. And as we discussed previously, I'm open to being there on Wednesday mornings, but it's just one more meeting. Right now, I'm paid a certain amount of money, and when I break it down hourly, it's not much. And I think if you would take the time to come talk to Joe and I, we can break these numbers down to you. We can come to an understanding as to what it may look like financially to attend those meetings. Fine. I mean, we're willing to do that. Yeah. But I think that you're going to find that Joe and I have been very, very generous to this community for the last 20 years. And I think if we were to ask the city administrator of some comments that he has heard from other municipalities in regards to the legal services that are being provided, he would have some very positive things about how Joe and I have treated this community that we live in. I don't think you're going to get it from other attorneys that aren't, the hometown boys. I mean, Joe and I graduated from high school here too. But I'm happy. We're happy to sit down. We're happy to talk. We're happy to look at what it may look like to attend those meetings. I don't disagree that it would be helpful. It's just a matter of one more meeting to be at. We're gonna close this meeting. That's fine. Then we're gonna go to a Port Authority meeting. Okay, that's another meeting. And I do the Port Authority meetings and I do the Charter Commission meetings, and there's another meeting and another meeting. But I encourage you and any other council member that want to talk about it, come in and talk to us.
And I appreciate that. One of the things that I would never do, though, as a council member, I would never come to you individually. One of the things the mayor asked for was to be no lone wolves. And so I would never come and try to negotiate that or do that with you at all. I would just like to leave it open to the council that one of the council members, myself here, is asking for more legal guidance for the council since I've been on here. And if that's something that Mr. Nicomo and them can provide, that's something we want to be able to do. But in order to do that, we'd like to see what it takes to do it.
Your Honor, seeing as how that's not on the agenda, I don't see how we can vote on that tonight. I think that's got to go to the committee of the whole, and then from there back to the council.
I was going to say, I think what we need to do is put a scope together of what we would require, and I think that would probably require somebody sitting down and working out what the scope is of kind of legal services.
Do you need a motion, Your Honor, to do that
I
at
think
committee of the
it's-
whole, or just let it
I
ride?
think we'll talk about it, then we put it on the
Okay,
committee of the whole.
appreciate it.
So with that, we will adjourn this to go.
Mr. Mayor, just one other thing maybe to put on the committee as a whole too. I would like to, under new business, it would be, it's not any new news to us as a counselor, to me or whomever, that, the pool is predicted to cost money every year. We don't plan on breaking even on that. And I don't know as far as a splash pad also. I would like to see if there's some way to do some type of naming rights to that. If there's a entity or a company in town or a business that would like to call it, ABC Splash Pad, and we could come up with a fee schedule, X amount of dollars per year for maybe 5 years or so for those two entities. So we can try to recoup some of this loss that's going to be every year. And I think that would be a good way to move forward with this. It would also be goodwill to the community with somebody's name on there. I can just see it, Anthony Hicks Splash Pad. Individuals can do it also. I think I'd like to talk about that.
Not memorial, Pastor.
No. Well, it depends on how he does.
We'll bring that up at the committee of the whole. Right.
Thank you.
With that, we are adjourned to a closed session to consider real estate transactions, and we will be opening back up again.